Here we go again.
Welcome back to Donuts in Space and part 11 of the USS Voyager rebuild. I've got some work done to this kit, not really done a lot to be fair. I've been a bit busy going forth and back to doctors and whatnot. I went to see Professor Limousine, who's my neurologist, on Tuesday. And the good news is she's actually cleared me to go back to work now, which is great. I've had 5 years off on the sick, and now I'm actually being treated properly. The progress is remarkable. So I am now allowed to go back to work. Then on, when was it, the Wednesday, I had to go back down back down to London again, to the same hospital, to have my injections done, which is good. So that's all sorted. I've spoken to my GP as well, and he's happy to let me go back to work, but unfortunately I'm not going to be able to go back in my current role. Main reason being is because it's an hour and a half drive to work. Then I would have to do a 12-hour shift, which basically means that I'm attached to the telephone and the laptop for that 12 hours, and then I've got another hour and a half journey back home again. They are not happy. Well, neither the professor nor my GP are happy with me driving that distance or working for that long with this condition, because it's not curable. All they can do is just manage the symptoms. So, you know, it doesn't matter what happens, that issue is still there. So yeah, it's good that I'm able to go back to work. So we're going to have to do a return to work. Whenever I can get hold of the management, to be fair. So it will be a gradual phased return back to work. So we just have to see really how that goes. Whether they can actually find me another suitable role that's closer to home or not, we don't know yet. But I'm just happy that I'm allowed to go back to work. I do miss it, to be fair. I do miss going to work. But there you are. That's the good news. I'm allowed to go back to work. So, on the model. We have had a little bit of a sort of setback on the fan tail with the warp nacelles. I don't have well, I say I don't have. Well, I don't have the plastic strut that I really wanted, and nor can I find it anywhere online. It's the plastic strut that normally goes to form the ribs on the back of the warp nacelles. I've had to use, I think, what is a millimetre by millimetre square stock styrene, and just basically wrapped it around the engine, so that I am going to need to sand down because it is just way too thick. Now, I did do the same on this side. Excuse the very loud car that goes by. Yeah, so I did put some plastic, the same plastic strut on this side, but unfortunately it all went a bit wonky. Main reason being is because this is quite thick styrene, and trying to get it to conform to the sharp curves on the back of the warp nacelles is a bit tricky, and it doesn't always want to stay in place. So it's a kind of case of get it glued in and then slap some masking tape on it to stop it from coming away from the warp nacelle, and then hoping to God that it doesn't move under that. Unfortunately on this side it did, and it looked as wonky as heck. So I've basically had to strip all of the styrene off of the back of here and then redo it. Or I've had to take the styrene off and then resand the back of this down again. And now what I need to do is redo the stock styrene in there, and hopefully it'll it'll work properly this time. And then I've just still got the 2 little dots of round styrene to stick into those bits, and that'll be done. Apart from that, we've got all of the other photo etch on this. One part did fall off on this side. There should be another little bit on there. But that fell off. I've got that safe, and I'll just stick that back on when I've got this buttoned up, really. I'll stick that back on just before I start painting. Meanwhile, on this one, I need to also think I need to remove the impulsed exhaust, because I think I've put those on wrong, because on one side here I've got a part that's actually gone right in, and on this side I've got a gap, so I think I've actually done that wrong, to be fair. So I'm just going to need to take those off and redo those. That's no biggie though, that won't really take too long to do. So quite happy with that at the moment, even though the stock styrene part is I'm not happy with. On the engineering hole, we've got the 4 rooms in here that need to go in. These two, the smaller 2 rooms, went in quite easily, didn't have a problem with those. And I thought it was going to be a bit of a problem that these rooms have gone in at a funny angle, because they're kind of like that. But from the windows on the outside, they look perfectly normal. These ones, however, the bigger ones, with these rooms, they actually went the other way, so they was kind of pointing up like that. So all you could see when you looked through the window was the other side here, which was a bit weird. So what I've had to do to bring those up to a level point is actually underneath this is put a little strip of styrene in to actually bring these up level, so you can actually see inside of them. At the moment, unfortunately, you can't see inside those rooms without the lights being on. But if I remember what I do before I actually put the masking tape in the little windows there, I'll see if we can give you a little sneak peek so you can see what they look like. But yeah, from my angle, they actually do look quite good. The other thing that I've done so far isn't a great deal, to be fair, because I've been too busy going down to London and whatnot, and dealing with other things. I've started to get these painted, so this has been masked off. This took forever to mask off, to get in between all of the ribs. I've basically used, I think it was 0.3mm masking tape to actually get in between all the ribs. Yeah, so that just took forever. It was a bit of a pain in the bum to do. And then once I'd done that, I then just went around the whole of the outside with some more masking tape to protect it all. And then I used the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer, just so I knew that I was going to get some good adhesion on the plastic for when I took the when I take out the masking. And then I gave it 2 or 3 coats of black paint just to help with the light blocking, and then I just gave it 2 coats of the orange. Now the orange on there at the moment isn't exactly right. I thought I'd got it pretty much well right, and then I put it up to the picture that I've got, and it was off by about 3 or 4 tones. So I've remixed the paint, and I've got it down to where I need it now, and then I've double checked it, and then got somebody else to double check it, and they've agreed that it is now spot on. So I just need to really get these 2 parts sprayed down. With this part, I had to remove all of the detail that was in there because it was incorrect, and then with the green strawberry photo etch, they supplied the parts on there that are correct. So we got those glued down with a little bit of the micro crystal clear. All I did was I just put it in the centre bits. There was no need on putting it in the arms. We got those stuck in. What I had to do before I did that though, when I put the Tamiya surface primer down to begin with, I did notice that there were some quite deep scratches in there and it weren't really that even. So I had to use some little strips of 800 grit wet and dry, and basically super glued it to the end of one of these little stirring sticks, and actually went in there and just basically used this as a sanding stick really, and went in and got all the undulations out and most of the scratches. And then following on from that, the deeper scratches that I couldn't really get out, I basically used a little bit of the Perfect Plastic Putty, put that in the deeper scratches, let it dry, and then went back in, sanded it down, and then gave it another quick shot of the Tamiya Surface Primer. Happy with the results, so I then stuck the photo etch down, gave it another light dusting of the primer, and then just shot the orange on it straight away. But as I say, I just need to recoat that, and then once that's done, the orange that I got left, I'll just pour some of that into some flat white paint, just to get the these little sticky uppy bits painted as well. That's the technical term, sticky up bits. So yeah, I get those little ribs painted up in the lighter shade, and then that'll be fine. The one that I did forget to do, because I did forget about this, was this little bit. I don't really need to do any major painting on this really with the surface primer. It's just on the back. I mean, I'll most probably do the front side as well, but I just want to concentrate on the back with the photo etches, just so we know that we're going to get some good adhesion for the paint. Yeah, when I start painting those bits again, I'll get that bit done, and then that'll be all good. I did get some more SMDs in, because I'd run out of the warm white SMDs. Can't remember whether I explained it or not, because, well, memory, it's not good. But basically, with Janeway's quarters and the officers' mess, so you've got the officers' mess there, then you've got Janeway's quarters that are basically on the bottom of that. And if you put those in, so if I put the officers' mess in, like so, there's no light that can get into that naturally, as with the other rooms it will do. So I'm going to need to stick a couple of warm white SMDs in there just to help light that up. And then if I put Janeway's quarters in on top of that, like so, as you can see, there's no way that light can get into Janeway's quarters to light that up. So because this has got, especially Janeway's quarters, because it's got 3 separate rooms in it, I'm going to need to put a little SMD in for each one of those rooms. I mean, that's no biggie. Those I can leave on the surface. Don't have to drill them down or in, because there's plenty of room there, so you're not going to see the SMDs through the windows. So I just need to do those, then I can get those glued in, and then I can just start gluing in all the other windows. I'm not going to do the top ones first, because if you're going in and you're sorting out the other rooms, you might forget that those ones are there, and then start knocking them as you're trying to work on those, the lower ones. So I just start with the middle and then kind of do these 2 here, then work my way to those ones, and then do the top 4 afterwards. That's going to be the easiest way to do it, I believe, without sort of breaking everything. So I mean, this bit only going to take a couple of minutes to do, really, to be fair, and they'll be sorted. So yeah, that's going to be about it for the moment, guys. I will do some more work on this wee beastie, and as soon as I got some progress, I will come back to you. I've got some more work onto this wee beastie of mine. So we've now got the main deflector array repainted with the darker shade of orange, or the brownish orange paint. So that's looking really good now. We've also done the same to the deflector that goes in the deflector housing, and that's looking pretty good. The only thing that needs to be done to this now is just the the darker shade, or sorry, the lighter shade that goes around the ribbon there, and then that'll be looking quite good. That will be done last because I've still got a lot of painting to do with this shade of orange. I've still got the parts on the front of the ship to do. There's some photo etch on the front part that goes near the secondary deflector, and I've also got the thrusters to do as well for the saucer section in exactly the same paint as well. So I'll do that bit once all the rest have done, because what I don't want to do is just start sort of mixing the white into this paint and then realise that I needed more, because I don't really want to go through the whole process of trying to get it to match, because that's going to be a bit of a pain in the bum, because I didn't really take any measurements, to be fair, of what was being used. I just kept on mixing it until I got to the right shade. It was just one of those sort of like jobbies there. So we've got this, the secondary one, painted as well, and we've also got the back end painted on that, which is fantastic. It's looking really, really nice. I only put the Tamiya Fine Surface Primer on the photo etch, as there's no real painting that needs to be done on this, no masking or anything, so I didn't really bother putting the grey Tamiya Surface Primer on there. All I do once these are done, or once I've completed all of these, and before I put them in, all I do is I just give them a quick shot with the flat clear coat, A, to help protect the parts, but also to bring them down to the necessary sheen that they need, and then I can just get on with then putting some of the clear Tamiya smoke on the back of that. Might actually do that pretty soon, actually, because I'm interested to see what that'd be look like, and plus the fact I want to get all of the tape out the middle of those. So they're kind of done. I haven't done any work to the fantail, really, to be fair, because it's been annoying me, so it's best not to do anything to that when it's annoying you, because you know that something's going to go wrong, and then before you know it, it's going to go flying and hit the wall. So it's just best to leave that one. But on here, let's just pan out. There we go, that's a bit better. But as you can see here, we've now got all of the rooms in to the upper saucer section, which is great. Obviously the rooms that are on the lower part of the saucer section as well, and all the rooms that are in the engineering hall. The only ones that I've really got left to work on now is the sorry, excuse me, the shuttle bay and the bridge. The actual bridge part itself is painted. I just need to get that attached into the actual bridge section itself, and then we can get that on the ship. But as I say, that's going to be one of the last jobs that get done, to be fair. So yeah, not looking too bad at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do is just work on the deflector array housing and get all of the tape off of that, get it cleaned up, and then spray the clear smoke on the back of that, and then as soon as I've done that, I will come back to you so we can have a little look. Got some more work done to this wee beastie that I thought I'd share with you. We start with the fantail end, actually, to be fair, but as you can see there, we've now actually got the ribs put in place for the back end of the nacelles. That's been dried overnight. So my next job now is just basically go in there on both sides and sand down the whole lot until we got that to the right depth, really, to be fair. So that's going to be good fun. The other bits that we've done is we've been working on the deflector. You would never believe that for such a small part it's taken absolute forever to do this. It's taken the best part of 2 days to mask it. Then obviously it needed to be primered, light blocked, and then painted, and then unmasked. So yeah, that was a 3-day operation just really for this small part. It's been a pain in the bum, but never mind. It's actually looking really good. It's looking a hell of a lot better than the last one I did. So I mean, basically what we've done is we've just, as you know, we've put the masking tape in there before we painted it. Masking tape was removed. There was still a tiny amount of paint bleed through the masking tape around the edges of the ribs. So I just basically went in there with the pointy bit of a matchstick and the backside of a number 11 blade, and just basically scraped them all down and just kept on cleaning them as I went. And I just kept on holding it up to the light to make sure that we'd gotten rid of most of the nasties on there, which we have. So the only thing that needs to be done to this now is just a flat clear coat on this side, just to help bring it down to the hue that it needs, and also to protect the paintwork in there. We've also sprayed a reasonably light clear smoke on the back side of it to help dull it down when it's actually sitting in the deflector array housing area of the ship. So basically what that will do, once this or once the model switched off, the parts in between the ribs where it's got the clear smoke, basically that is just going to darken down a hell of a lot, because you haven't got any natural light coming into it, or there's no natural light coming into it, and the lights aren't switched on. So because that particular area is going to be fairly dark, it's just going to look as though that area between the ribs is really dark, and that's how it should be on the model. I think I put up a picture of the housing a couple of videos ago to show you what that effect looked like, and we have actually achieved that just by putting a really thin layer of the Tamiya clear smoke on it. So that's looking really good. Really happy with the way that that's turned out. Slow going, as I say, about 3 days just to do that one stupid bit, but that's the price you pay if you want to sort of go all out and try to be as accurate as you possibly can be, and that's another word I can't pronounce. With the shuttle bay, we've got the walls painted in the Tamiya XF20, which is, I can't remember the name now, it's medium grey. That's what it is, it's a medium grey. I just not long put the second coat on there, actually, to be fair. This paint has been really thinned down. I mean, it's thin enough to go through an airbrush, and all I did was just painted it on with the paintbrush, and there's no brush strokes in there. And the reason why I've done it like that is because I didn't want to just spray the whole thing down, because I'm going to need to do the floor as well. I mean, I've only got one coat of paint on the floor, and again, that's thin enough for the airbrush as well. I just need to do the detailing on some of the parts. We've got a ladder, we've got some handrails, we've got the door and the door frame in there, and then we've all got the ribs that go up on the sides, on the walls as well, and a few other little bits and pieces about. So yeah, that's gonna hopefully look pretty cool when that's done. What I've also done is I've ordered in some white decal paper, and the reason being is that in Windows 3D Paint, which I think is one of the most basic paint programs that there is, I've kind of knocked up a basic decal. So it's the length and the width of the shuttle bay minus this little part here. And I've basically put down a light grey background, which hopefully, that's the sky grey, the XF19 sky grey, and I'm hoping that I've actually got the decal down to that colour as well. So basically, what I've done with the decal, as I say, the whole area of it is done in grey, and then I've put the box shape on there for the yellow lines that go all the way around, and then another yellow line that goes right down the middle, and then I've got a number 1 on this side and a number 2 on that side. So hopefully that's going to look pretty good. So as soon as that's in, I can actually then get the decal paper down on that, and then I can basically spray down the floor with, I think more than likely, a semi-gloss clear, because at this size you don't really want to go for a gloss clear coat because it's just going to look so out of place. So a semi-gloss, that should look pretty fine. The 2 shuttles that are in there, one of them's a Type 9 and I can't remember the other one, but you're definitely not going to get the Delta Flyer in there at the same time, because that was one of the things that everybody was moaning about in the TV, about the TV program, that the shuttle bay was so small, and the fact that you had like a gazillion and one shuttlecraft in there, and then they built the Delta Flyer and they all seemed to happily fit in there, which would obviously never happen in real life. So I'm just going to get 2 shuttlecraft in there, 1 on each side, and then all the other ones that we got, well, they're being displayed differently. One of the things I have decided to do is, if you can cast your mind all the way back to the DS9 space station that I built. Oh, sorry, before we get to that part, this is the roof for the shuttle bay. So that's been painted as well, just waiting for the paint to dry on that before we put a flat coat on there. One of the things that we are going to do is this gap down here where the lights are, we're just going to cut out some clear styrene, and then we're going to put a matte clear coat over the top of that, just to act as a frosting on the windows to diffuse the light on the shuttle bay floor, and that should look pretty good when that's done, hopefully, keeping fingers crossed. So yeah, anyway, if you can remember back to DS9, the DS9 station I'd done many years ago now, the tiny little runabouts for that I lit up. Now these are about 4 times the size of those little shuttlecraft, most probably bigger actually, to be fair. So if I could light those up, I know that I can light these up. So what I've done is I've got a 0401 pure white SMD in there, and that's attached to a 1.2k resistor. And it does light the shuttlecraft up, even just from being attached to the bottom of the shuttle. It does actually light all the way through. Unfortunately, the light is fairly dim when it comes to the nacelles, so I think what I'm going to need to do is go to a 470 resistor, which is what I did on the runabouts, to push as much light as I can through to the nacelles. The reason I say that is because by the time you've actually got the blue paint on there for the chiller grills, and then you've also got the red clear paint on there for the Bassard scoops, I don't really think that you're going to see a lot of light coming through from them, to be fair. So hopefully a 470 resistor will actually push more light through to them. If that doesn't work, then I might need to experiment with 2 SMDs on each one. Now I'm only putting 2 in there, so that would only be a collective 4 SMDs, and I think that should actually do it, to be fair. Now the other thing with these is the fact that the windows, well, there is no interior on this, but the way it was printed has actually left the inside of it reasonably hollow. So I'm going to have to fill up all the gaps inside with the microcrystal clear glue, and then I can just basically, once I've done that, I can then just basically mask those windows off and sort of paint the whole of the ship, and then, you know, get the rest of it sorted out. I might need to put a little bit of clear smoke in there into the microcrystal clear, just to tone the windows down a tad, because otherwise they're going to be a bit bright, as they were on the runabouts for the DS9 station. But we'll give you a little look, and as I say, this is actually connected to a 1.2k resistor. Now, it does actually light up the whole ship, and as I say, you can actually see that it is lighting up the warp nacelles. They just not quite enough light coming through. I mean, to you looking through the camera, that's just a big blob of light. But as I say, most of that is going to be taken care of when it's light blocked. As I say, I just need to really just play around, try a 470 resistor, and hopefully that'll do it. If not, do two SMDs, both attached to a 470 resistor, and hopefully that should be bright enough. Well, that's going to be about it for the moment, guys. I think this video is now a bit too long. It's just the problem is we're into that stage of the build now, where even though we're still putting it together, work has kind of had to really slow down on this because we're dealing with all of the fiddly bits now before it all goes together. Once we've kind of got the whole shit back together again, then it's going to start speeding back up again. It's just these parts, just these little fiddly parts that nobody likes doing, just takes a little bit of time. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here, guys, and I will catch up with you in, I do believe, part 12. So until then, as always, please do take care, and thanks for watching.